For those of you who watch my videos, you usually see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in my background, but I replaced it with the Holy Bible because we're talking about one of my favorite Christian metal bands that I have ever listened to, and the name of the band is Theocracy, and the name of the album is Mosaic. This is a unique band. They play a mix of power metal and progressive metal. They've been around for about 20 years, and it's a band I've been listening to for a couple of years now. I discovered them sometime around 2020. I was getting into Christian metal, and I was exploring different bands I came across, and this is a band that I really like a lot. So I'll just do a quick history. It started as a one-man band by Matt Smith. He's the vocalist. It's power metal in the style of, let's say, Halloween meets Dream Theater. It's that type of music. The first album was self-titled. It was released in 2003. It was pretty much a one-man project. Then the second album came out in 2008 called Mirror of Souls. That was the first album as a band, and that one's pretty good. It's not my favorite. My favorite is actually As the World Bleeds from 20. If you don't know this band, I would recommend that you start here and listen to the first song called I Am. This is a really great song. It's a 10-minute long song. It's epic, and just the whole album is really awesome. I really love that one. After that, they released another album called Ghost Ship in 2016. I didn't like that one as much as the previous two, but it still has a few good songs on there. Now, there was a 7 gap between albums, so they finally released Mosaic on Atomic Fire Records. That's a new label for them. I'm going to talk about that. It's a really good album, and I think I like it better than the previous one. The album is kind of long. That's because the last track is a 19-minute long epic. I'll get to that. The rest of the album has songs like in the 5 to 7 minute range. Some songs are more, some songs are less. I really like this album. They're not afraid to get heavy. Sometimes they sound like power metal. Sometimes they have changes in their songs. I think the first side of the album is solid, and I really like the last song called Red Sea. That's the long song. And let me just get into this. I'm going to be going track by track now. The first song is called Flicker. This is more of a traditional power metal type of song. It has a very fast drum beat and melodic guitar riffs. I really like the song. I think it's a good way to start off the album. The song is pretty representative of their sound in general. The song also is very catchy. It's the type of song that sticks in your head after a few listens. There's also one heavy part in the middle of the song where they do these machine gun galloping guitar riffs, and this band isn't afraid to get heavy. The next song is called Anonymous. This is one of the heavier songs on the album. The opening guitar riff is closer to traditional or even thrash metal. And they do this galloping guitar riff and then more of that traditional sound. I like the song a lot. It shows off their heavier side, but it still has their signature sound. Things get interesting when they play the guitar solo because you hear more of that progressive side. It almost sounds like a Dream Theater type of guitar solo. Next is one of the singles that was released, the title track called Mosaic. I actually didn't like this song as much when I first heard it. I think it was because of the slow intro, and you expect it to be this emotional ballad, but then it takes off after the first minute and a half. Then when the song takes off, it's more traditional power metal with fast rhythms, fast drum beats, melodic guitar riffs, and melodic vocals. I think once the song got moving, I started to enjoy it a little more. I felt like the intro was a little slow, but on the plus side, there's one guitar riff comes in around the 4-minute mark that I really like. The next song is called Sinsidious, The Dogs of War. It's a pretty good song. I feel it's more on the progressive side as opposed to the power metal side because they switch up the rhythm often throughout the song, and the guitar riffs have more complexity to them. There's a little bit more aggression with this song. I like the use of the backing vocals. I thought that worked well in the song. I can hear some Iron Maiden influence in the guitar riffs, and then there's also a little bit of Metallica in there as well. So you can see they have influence from these big bands. Return to Dust is the next song. This was one of the singles. The song is more of a traditional heavy metal sound, I would say. I thought it reminded me a bit of modern Striper. Might be because the lyrical content is very Christian. They're talking about how people come from dust and will return to dust. I think it's a pretty good song. I like the chorus. I thought it was very melodic and probably the better single out of the two. The Sixth Great Extinction is next. This is one of the heavier songs. I like the guitar riffs. They have more of a traditional metal sound. The vocals are very good. Has some progressive metal elements. The song's very enjoyable. It has lots of twists and turns. That's something I always like in music. The guitar riffs are heavy and the bass guitar sounds very good on this song in particular, but throughout the whole album. Deified is next. It reminds me of Iron Maiden at first, but then it comes more of a traditional power metal song with fast-paced drums and melodic vocals. The guitar riff reminded me of like a sped-up version of Wasted Years. The song is good. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still enjoyable nonetheless.
18 years circling the sun, no regrets and...
The Greatest Hope is next. This is a power ballad. It's a short song, about 3 minutes and 15 seconds. It was just okay for me. I think this band does better with the heavier and progressive songs. The vocals were very good. I would say it was a little similar to like a Striper ballad. Liar, Fool, or Messiah is next. This is a heavy song. The guitar riffs are faster. It was also one of the longer songs at about 8 minutes. It's a melodic power metal song. Some parts are very thrashy and other parts are more on the melodic side.
Has been tested, and I have been found dead.
Now it's time to talk about the epic song called The Red Sea. It's a 19-minute song about the Bible story of Moses and the Israelites. There's a lot going on here. The opening guitar riff sounded like a Ritchie Blackmore type of guitar riff in his days in Rainbow. The second guitar riff is more like modern Metallica with that crunchy bite. The song goes through lots of changes during its runtime. There are some fast parts that sound more like traditional power metal and other parts which are slower and heavier. The song does not feel boring at all because they play a lot of different guitar riffs throughout the entire song. There's one part in the song at about 11 and a half minutes where they slow it down and bring in clean guitars and softer vocals. After that, they bring in some harmonized guitars. Then towards the end, it all comes to a climax. It's similar to those long songs from bands like Dream Theater or Iron Maiden. It's very good if you're in the mood for a very epic track. That is all. I'm not going to say much more because I don't want this video to be too long. My score is an 8.5 out of 10. I would say it's better than Ghost Ship. Maybe not as good as As the World Bleeds, but nonetheless, it's early to say where I would rank it. If you're interested in Christian metal, check out this video right here. It's 10 bands, I believe, that are very representative of Christian metal. I don't mention Striper, but I mentioned like a lot of underground bands. I believe I mentioned Theocracy in this video. I haven't watched it in a while, but check that out. Like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe. It helps you stay up to date on my new and classic album reviews. Comment. I like to respond to all comments, and I will see you in the next one.